guns back inside.
Multiple breaches in Sector 12. Jennings, get those hatches closed.
Where are we on that hull breach in Sector 17?
ETA 60 seconds.
Engineering Show me the contact point.
Starboard guns, down.
Captain. Hard to do my best work like this. Can't we fight back?
Carrier, just release more banshees.
Are we fighting back?
We are, Professor. Let me handle that. You just give me the update on the Ark.
Starboard guns are down. Factory Module 3 has internal fires. Poked the nest, didn't we?
We did. Evacuate and vent. How long can we keep this up?
Not long. We're losing too many guns. At this rate, it'll be over soon. I think I found a way to get help. You can reopen our portal? No. We're going to Mega Halo. What? I've discovered the Ark keeps an almost finished ring in its central forges at all times. It's an emergency replacement in case one of the other rings breaks down. Rings? You must mean galaxy-destroying super weapons, right? Well, on that front, I figured out how to disable the ring's firing mechanism. We can only launch it to one of the locations of the original rings, however.
Isabel, you said the Master Chief first found a ring near enough to reach. That would make it within range of a comms beacon. It could work. Anders, how long do you need?
12 hours, if my calculations are correct.
We don't have 12 hours, Professor. We might not have 12 minutes. Just can't beat that right now.
I can. I'm gonna need a little help, though.
Explain.
Well, for starters, I need her down there with me.
Isabel?
Sorry, sir. I've been on the Ark a while. After recent battle reports, you should have figured out that there are rules around here. I intend to break one. A big one. We'll need to split ground forces between these two locations to buy me some time.
You're taking control of ground forces now? Buy you time for what?
That ship brought these monsters. Killed everyone I was supposed to protect. Now it wants to do the same to you. I won't let that happen. It's time to show them what power really means around here.
Captain, we're on site of the Forerunner particle cannon we discovered at the cartographer. We've targeted the banished carrier, and we're ready to fire on your say-so.
Do it. The Spirit of Fire wasn't built to fight a carrier like the Enduring Conviction, and we can't hold it off for long.
We're locked on, Captain. The cannon's not large enough to destroy the carrier, but it will immobilize it and punch a hole through its shields. If we can stay alive long enough.
That's where the second part of Isabel's plan comes in. Jerome, are you and Isabel in place?
Yes, sir. We're making our approach to the banished base beneath that carrier.
Good. Be ready to get Isabel inside the carrier once its shields are down. Douglas, Atriox can't afford to lose that carrier, so he'll be sending all his local forces at you to stop that cannon. That's a confirmed hit, Professor. The Enduring Conviction is immobilized and not going anywhere. What's the ETA on full penetration of its shields?
Hard to estimate, Captain. This thing didn't exactly come with instructions. I'll draw as much power as I can into the cannon, but we're going to make one heck of a target.
Agreed. Douglas, the banished carrier is Atriox's biggest weapon and only means of slipstream transport, so he'll be sending everything he can to destroy that cannon.
He said full penetration. What's up, guys and gals? It's the Tyrant here, and welcome back to my Halo Wars 2 Legendary Walkthrough. Today we're doing Mission 8 entitled Hold the Line. It is a direct follow-up to the last mission, and yes, it is more annoying. So, as you can see, we're building a mini base here. They don't give you much to start with. They give you a base. I mean, I should say they give you a decent amount, just not a lot of supplies and power. So we're going to go ahead and start building supply pads. As you can see, we got started our mini base, and we have a couple of groups of Marines. I highly recommend sending those over to make sure they capture the power nodes. You will need this desperately, especially if you're going to dedicate a lot of those slots to power or supply pads. So go ahead and start filling out these turret slots. There are a bunch of them all over the map. Initially, we want to make as many of these anti-turret as possible, because most of our units at first are going to come from the north and the west, and these guys are going to mostly be infantry. So you do have a little bit of time to actually get this settled. Just don't relax too much because it will sneak up on you when you least expect it. So we're waiting right here so we can make this one an anti-infantry turret. That'll help us out a lot. Again, the first attacks will come from the left right here, the western side of the map. And it will be purely infantry. And that's how it's all going to start. Just infantry. Then they're going to upgrade to vehicles. And it's mostly, again, going to start from the left. Then they'll start attacking from the center or the north. And then from the east or the far right side of the map. So we're going to make as many supply pads as possible. Keep in mind that when you make turrets, it only costs supplies. But when you upgrade them, it does cost power. So we're going to upgrade these supply pads to get us a nice padding, if you will, no pun intended, on some extra supplies.
Supply pad constructed.
And then as soon as we can, we're going to upgrade our main base to the next level so we can actually start building an air pad as well as an armory. I keep wanting to call the armory a research base or a research center because that is pretty much what it is. So again, we're going to upgrade these turrets out here. This is the main route that both enemies from the west as well as the north will be taking. And at first, they're going to attack the west barricade. So you have two barricades here, one from the west, one from the east. You have two walls in each. It is an extra objective or a bonus objective if you can manage to protect all the barricades. On Legendary, do not expect to be able to do that. On lesser difficulties, that is absolutely possible.
Here they come. Infantry coming in from the north.
Okay, so again, just basic infantry here. Your turret should be able to handle them. As you may have noticed, I put a Hornet at the base, or the mini base, as well as those turrets up there. It definitely helps quite a bit.
Douglas, we've got hunters coming from the north.
Again, very good against ground units. We're going to go ahead and send Jerome to go ahead and take over these power silos from the enemy. I'm assuming that's the Banish that set these up. So
There, sir. Getting going. Making my way.
So we're going to go ahead and try to arm this eastern barricade. They won't come until later for the eastern barricade, but it's going to be vehicles when it happens. So when you do upgrade these guys over here, make sure that you actually make them anti-vehicular or anti-vehicle. I'm not really sure what the correct terminology is there. And eventually we're going to go ahead and put Spartan Jerome there too, just to help further the defenses. But for now, we're going to worry too much. Remember, your ultimate goal is to protect the particle cannon. So even if you do lose the barricades, it's not the end of the world, but you really don't want to have to give that up until the end. Like I said, in Legendary, it is inevitable. Okay, so far we're doing okay. Most of our enemies are, again, coming from the left side or the west side right now. And in a few minutes, or probably less than that, they'll start coming from the north. I think it's suicide grunts that come from the north first. Okay, so far we're doing okay. There's extra power down near the particle generator if you need it, or the particle cannon. I do apologize if you're an ambulance in the background. I live in a very high concentrated area of fire trucks and ambulances. I live in a complex full of both old people and stupid people. So there are emergency vehicles here at least 3 times a day. Never know when they're coming. Someone set fire to this complex, or at least one part of it, I think, last week. So you never know what to expect here. Now, also keep in mind that if enemies actually do try to come for your base, they may ignore the base and just try to get through the particle cannon. There is no barricade stopping them if they actually try to come through your base. And by the way, the comment before, that's no disrespect to old people, just disrespect to stupid people in terms of the whole ambulance fire truck thing. So, again, we're keeping an eye on our western barricade here. Hunters are the ones who really have to worry about. They're the heavy infantry units. They do take significantly more hits than all other units, and pack a punch if they actually reach their destination. Okay, so now that everything's done here, we'll go ahead and put our armory there and our air pad here. I prefer to have the air pad on this side of the base just because of where the units eventually end up. I want to say head up, but that didn't sound right. So your main focus here is going to be mainly creating Hornets and Nightingales.
Douglas, you have enemy infantry coming.
And here come the units from the north. Again, as long as you have maintained the turrets here that I've told you about before, as well as having your Hornet in place, you shouldn't have too many issues. Now that center place right there is a good place later on in the mission to keep all of your units, because it will help counter not only units from the north, but the ones from the west as well. The only ones that it cannot counter are the ones from the east, which again we're going to deal with later on. So we're going to start building up our Hornets first. Make sure you have enough Nightingales to proportionally iron it out.
Leader point earned.
And that's going to be our main baseline for offensive attacks in this mission. So again, the main goal here is just to hold the line for half an hour. We're already at the 22-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and keep my Warthog here just to help protect the west barricade as long as I can. Again, on Legendary, keep in mind the enemy units have more health and hit harder, so you may not be able to protect it quite as easily. Going to go ahead and call in an airstrike just to help even out the odds there just a little bit. Get my Warthog back up here so it doesn't get destroyed. I just wanted to provide some support fire. So far we seem to be doing pretty okay with the western barricade. Like I said, in just a minute or so, maybe less, they're going to start attacking from the east. And it's all going to be vehicles. So we wanted to make sure that we have our units, or our turrets on the eastern side, all anti-vehicle.
Local units.
Douglas, here and ready. On the way.
Infantry and enemy armor coming from the northeast.
Run to that, Anders.
Okay, so we have more anti-armor from, anti-armor. We have infantry and wraiths coming from the east at this point.
She's ready to go, sir.
We're going to have our Warthog help guard the base over here.
They'll wreck our barricades in no time. Let's hang them off, fast.
Get our Hornets all together. A swarm, if you will.
Turret upgraded.
And we have our first plasma bombardment. Now I'm noticing that ever since the last mission, it looks like these ones are pink. So I'm wondering if that's actually an upgrade from the ones we saw earlier in the game, which were blue. They seem to occur less frequently, but seem to be more powerful at the same time. Now in this mission, it's not going to matter a lot. Oh, there's the Allspark again. It's not going to matter a lot as long as you have Nightingales to help protect, or at least heal your Hornets, as well as each other. But we have a lot of we have a lot of bandits here trying to make a break for the particle cannon via through your base. And they're attacking it first. So, again, those first two turrets in the front, you should always make anti-vehicular, at least until the last part of the mission. Make the back ones anti-air, because later on we're going to be dealing with Banshees. And towards the end of the mission, they're going to be both Banshees as well as Locusts. So again, it's nice to have a mix of the two. And at the very end of the mission, it's going to be mostly Banshees, so you can make those frontward turrets anti-air as well. So this deployable turret is a really, really nice thing to have. The impact alone can do substantial damage to whatever army that you drop it on, but it just serves at the very least as a nice deterrent to help get the fire off your units or off any particular target that's nearby. So make sure you always have one of those handy. I know you can upgrade those if you want to, but you can't, or in terms of tier 1, tier 2, but you can't upgrade them specifically in terms of anti-infantry, anti-air, or anti-vehicle. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so our east barricade is taking some serious damage right now. Our turrets are doing somewhat okay. Got to make sure that we have this place covered at least for a bit. As you can see, I have Spartan Jerome helping to guard the east barricade. He can hold his own pretty well, even on Legendary, with the help of the turrets. But we really want our Air Force to concentrate mostly on the center area, because that's where enemies from both the west and the north will be coming in. But make sure they're close enough that they can also handle any surge from the east as well. Also note that as far as I can tell, the Nightingales can heal the western barricade as well as the particle cannon, but cannot do anything to the east barricade. So once they break the line in that area, you're pretty much done for. So we have another plasma bombardment there. That thing is a pain in the ass. At least it's appearing less now. So we're going to heal our units as much as we can. We have lots of backup here, so we should be okay. One thing you want to focus on is making sure that you get your air up, as you can see we're doing there. It makes them tougher, makes them hit harder. It's good all the way around. You also want to make sure that you increase your population count as much as you can, which means upgrading your base.
They're sending in a locust from the east to attack our base.
I've seen those before. Let's take it out before it levels home base. Moving out.
Okay, so here's where the locusts start coming in. Now, they're not that effective against air, but they are base levelers. They will destroy your structures. They have very weak armor, so your air units should be able to take them out fairly easily. But if they are left unguarded too long or ignored too long, they will cause massive damage. Now, your end priority is not to keep your base alive. It's obviously to keep the particle cannon alive, but if your base is destroyed and you need reinforcements, you won't be able to get them. So definitely keep your base alive as long as possible. It does get harder as the mission goes along and you start getting attacked from multiple points on the map. But at least for the first, I'd say 80% of the mission, definitely make your base a top priority. When units start breaking through the barricades and you need to fall back to the particle cannon, that's fine. Even if it means giving up your base, just make sure you have a strong fleet that can actually take on whatever comes to the particle cannon. So far we're doing pretty good. Our barricades are intact. Again, the locusts will come every now and then. They are extremely devastating to ground units and bases, but as you can see, they're not that powerful against air units. Especially if you have your Nightingales there, then you should be in really good shape. Okay, so we're going to keep building up our Nightingales. Make sure, again, they're proportionate to the Hornets. Once we get our population up, again, we're just going to spam Hornets. Make sure at least half of your vehicles are you have at least 50... Well, let me back up again. Make sure you have at least one Nightingale per 2 Hornets.
We've got a wave of suicide runs coming from the northeast.
That should keep your fleet pretty much invincible. Even when it comes to particle attacks or plasma attacks from above, or what I call the Allspark, that red vortex thing.
Infantry coming from the northeast.
I like to take out those hammer brutes as soon as possible. They do quite a bit of damage. And it looks like our Spartan Jerome is doing a nice little body slam there. Good job, buddy. And eventually we're going to split these guys off. We're going to put just at least a few Hornets and a couple of Nightingales over on the east side so we can leave that pretty much untouched while we'll concentrate most of our forces in the middle right here. Okay, so we have more Nightingales, so we should be in good shape. Get our population up just in a couple of minutes so we can increase our fleet, make us untouchable. Right now, you shouldn't have too many worries in terms of power or supplies. We're doing pretty good on both. As long as you aren't constantly having to rebuild, as long as you're managing your units correctly, you should be in relatively good shape. So again, we have more jump jet brutes here. So you're probably wondering why I call them jump jet. The short reason is the first game I played with this type of unit was Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun. They had infantry with jetpacks. They called them jump jet infantry. So when the brutes came along with jump packs, they call them jump pack brutes. That seems extremely uncreative, very unoriginal. So I just kind of refer to my old Command & Conquer buddies and call them jump jet brutes. Sounds a little cooler that way. So again, we're doing okay so far. In a couple of minutes, we're going to really have to start dedicating our forces, or start splitting our forces to make sure that we have both barricades covered equally. Keep them, or not equally, but at least make sure the east barricade has a decent amount of coverage to repel any of the vehicular attacks that occur to it, or jump jet attacks that occur to it. As you can see, they seem to be making a decent effort over here, the jump jet brutes, to attacking the eastern barricade. They're ignoring our base entirely and just going straight for the gold here. Fortunately, between our turrets, which are granted anti-vehicular, but they are doing a pretty good number on the brutes themselves. So we're just going to at least dedicate some of these forces over here once we get a break in the combat and help even out the load a little bit and take some of the stress off. Okay, so we can finally up our population, up our air, just to make them stronger, make them less easy to take down, make them more formidable overall. Again, so far, the strategy of keeping them right there in the middle to counter both northern attacks and western attacks has been extremely effective. Again, it's just making sure we have another group over there to help with the eastern attacks. Now, right now, it's not that big of a deal, but towards the end of the mission, they're going to start attacking more aggressively from multiple points. And at the very end of the mission, they're going to attack from all 3 points, as well as having Banshees come in from right there in the middle between the western and the northern points, so the northwest points. Man, Atriox is a total dick. But we're going to show him who's boss in this mission. Okay, so they're going to start attacking from the north. In a couple of minutes, they're going to start sending in Banshees again from the northwest. That's when you're going to want to start upgrading your vehicle or turrets to anti-air instead of anti-vehicular or anti-infantry, because they will be aggressive. So now we're going to select just a few units to come over here and help protect the eastern barricade. Again, eastern barricade is not going to last much longer. We're going to try to hold out as long as we can. And send the rest of our units right over here to protect the waypoint that leads over to the western barricade, as well as our base. Again, so far we have pretty formidable Air Force here. Not too big of an issue yet. It will become one within the last couple of minutes of the mission.
The east barricade is under attack from the banished. We've got to protect it. Enemy vehicles inbound from the east.
Keep in mind this is timed, and very similar to the Arcadia mission back in Halo Wars, as the timer gets extremely low, the attacks will get extremely aggressive. So again, we're just going to send another turret to help distract the enemies here. Keep them off the wall, keep them off our units, long enough for us to get the upper hand. So far, this seems to be working out pretty well, having a small force over there to help guard the eastern barricade, while our main force is over there dealing with the main focal point. So again, we have more locusts over here. Our small force should be able to handle them without too much of an issue, as long as we don't get plasma bombarded or all sparked again. So again, we're doing pretty well so far. Like I said, Locusts have a very strong cannon, but have very weak armor. Perfect for air infantry to deal with. Okay, so looks like the Banshee attacks are beginning. Nightingale is still active for now. We're going to go ahead and heal this fellow right here. Keep him alive as long as possible. And remember, the longer you keep your units alive, the stronger they get. They get veteran points. So now we're going to have several attacks from the northwest from Banshees. They're going to start out small, just with 3 Banshees or so. But gradually they will get larger. They're going to become very formidable. They're going to have, 6, 7, 8 units that attack all at once. This is about the time you're going to want to start upgrading your base turrets all to anti-air. And keep in mind that your air units are very effective against Banshees as well. You do not need Wolverines here. You definitely do not want to increase your air force for the sake of creating Wolverines. And we have another plasma bombardment. Great. So we're going to wait for this, see if any units need hailing, but our Nightingales seem to be doing a pretty good job themselves. Our turrets seem to be doing just fine against the Banshees so far, but like I said, as the Banshees increase in number, you're going to want to start converting those turrets to anti-air. Keep them off your base as long as they can, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're beelining it for your base while directing all of the units to the plasma cannon, both from the east and the west. Okay, so now we're getting much larger attacks from Banshees at this point. So far we haven't lost any units yet, being the key word there. These are obviously souped up Banshees. You can tell by their red plasma versus their typical green fuel rod gun. Not sure if that cannon has a different name. Would be interested to know. If you know, let me know in the comments below, because I am curious myself. Maybe we'll see one of those in Halo 6. Now again, in just a few minutes, our attacks, or the attacks from the Banished, will start getting more aggressive. Again, right now we're just dealing with Banshees. They're going to start attacking from multiple points all at once. Towards the end of the mission, it's literally going to happen simultaneously. So at that point, if they start destroying the barricades, you're going to want to fall back to the plasma cannon and make sure you defend that at all costs. So now we're getting additional attacks from the north as well as the west. Now, you don't want to leave this place up here abandoned too long like I did, because that's when units start to break through. So again, start changing these over to anti-air so you don't have to manage your base too much. Keep your base alive as long as possible, at least until the final confrontation begins. They're going to start tearing apart this western barricade right now. Let's see if we can actually help it. I don't think we can. We're a little too far away from it, and they're doing too much damage. So we're about to lose it. That is an optional objective, to keep all the barricades active and stable. If you cannot, again, it's not a mission loss. It just makes things a little bit tougher for you. Or easier, depending on how you look at it. If you want to converge all your troops to the particle cannon and defend it that way, you might be able to. But Again, the only issue with that is you might have units from multiple sides ganging up on you all at one time, and that could cause a problem. So we're trying to keep masses back as long as we can here. And we have another plasma beam from above. I hate that thing. At least it seems to be happening further apart this time as opposed to other missions. So again, with our Nightingales in place, we'll go ahead and heal the units just to help the process speed along. Our anti-air here seems to be doing the job in terms of the Banshee, so I'm not that worried about our base, at least not at the moment. But eventually locusts are going to start appearing from the east and make our job a lot more difficult. So things are starting to get a lot more aggressive right now. Looks like they've already gotten a right through here, probably through our base. No, probably through the western barricade, because it looks like they broke through that second wall. So again, that is your top priority. Whenever you see that thing getting attacked, send your units there on the double. Make sure that that thing does not take more hits than it needs to. Preferably none at all, if you can help it. So it looks like we're beginning to get to that point where we need to start focusing our units solely on the particle cannon, even if it means losing our base in the process. Again, as long as your fleet is alive and well, you should not have too much to worry about. This is why you need a number of Nightingales to make sure you can support your Hornet fleet. Again, as soon as the eastern barricade is down, we're just going to go ahead and converge all of our units into one and make sure that particle cannon is protected. Again, we have about 3 minutes left here, so things are about to really intensify. Again, we've got locusts coming at our base. Hopefully our turrets can hold them off, even though they're anti-air now. Hopefully it's enough to actually deal with the locusts. We're going to go ahead and drop another turret here just to help deter their fire from our base. Looks like right now they're more concerned with the eastern barricade, or were just a second ago. Now they're aiming for our base. But you don't want to split your units up here too much, because again, your main focus is to keep those enemy units from getting to that particle cannon. And again, the Banished are getting desperate now. So we got a couple of bonus objectives. That's pretty awesome, or at least one. Basically dropping turrets on enemy units, that's pretty awesome. If you can spare a moment, go ahead and take out these guys over here. Just try to keep your base alive as long as possible. Again, if you lose it at this point, it's not that big of a deal. We have about a little less than 2 minutes left. So it's not going to make that big of a difference at this point. If they start really downing your units, you're pretty much done for anyway. So try to keep them together. Make sure your Hornets are grouped in well with the Nightingales. Make sure you have enough Nightingales to actually support the number of Hornets that you have, and you should be in okay shape. So again, we got the, it looks like we're about to get the Locust here. So we're going to go ahead and put another turret in place. I know that's probably going to get destroyed, especially with these other Locusts coming around. But it looks like now they're actually moving to the east to attack the particle cannon itself. So now we're going to go ahead and fall back to the particle cannon. And at this point, we have a pretty massive air force. We've got 17 Hornets and 12 Nightingales and a Spartan, so we should be in pretty good shape here. Just fend this place off for the next minute and you should be in good shape. Thank you guys so much for watching. That wraps up our walkthrough for today. Stay tuned for next time. We'll be doing mission number 9. If you have any comments, let me know in the comment section below. Any questions, anything like that, just let me know in the comment section below. That goes for any tips, anything else, or you can let me know on both Facebook and Twitter. Twitter is definitely the best way to reach me. I respond the quickest that way. And if you like this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button for more video game related content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on MythicTyrant.com. Thanks so much for watching, guys and gals. I'll see you right back here next time. And as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.
Leader power ready. Douglas, the particle cannon is under attack. You've got to push them back.
Sorry, yes, sir.
Leader power ready.
Professor. Get ready for extraction back to the Spirit of Fire. Jerome, this is Douglas. The shield is down and you are a go.
Roger that, Douglas. Now get your troops clear. You don't want to be down there when Isabel gets started.